Hi, I'm Cameron.
And I'm Hayden.
And this is
Until the End of Crime.
Something was wrong with Annette Bouwer. Her coordination was off. She was having spells of dizziness, and her vision was blurry. Could a deterioration in her eyesight be at the root of this discombobulation? She made an appointment with an optometrist, got a prescription for glasses to alleviate the blurriness, but that did not prevent her from ultimately slipping into a coma. Her husband Colin woke up on November 20th, 1999, and called for emergency services to intervene, hopefully in time. She was taken to the main teaching hospital for the University of Otago, Dunedin Hospital, in Dunedin, New Zealand. Why are you laughing?
Because I know why you said I'm not going to know how to pronounce any of this.
It's even worse than that. It's worse than that, Hayden.
It's, yeah, I think I would struggle with, okay, I'm just making sounds at this point.
Splutter, splutter, hiss.
Yeah, I imagine you would need to be a Kiwi to get some of these right.
Well...
Is that what New Zealanders are called? Kiwis?
Yes, I'm almost positive. But the people in question are not actually from New Zealand.
Oh.
They are expats, but not from the U.S.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
other people from other countries can move to different countries, too.
I just don't know why they would want to. But you know what? I guess there are several countries with lower qualities of life.
Yeah. So, Colin Bouwer.
I would like it if you just sounded for sure when you said Bouwer at least one time.
You're going to understand in just a moment why I am being so particular about the pronunciation. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So, Colin Bouwer was the head of the Department of Psychological Medicine at the University of Otago. It was nice of you to not laugh that time, because I couldn't even. At least that's kind of what I understood of it. I'm not. Look, some of his job. Did he work for the Dunedin Hospital? Did he work for the University of Otago? Did he work for both? I don't exactly know. But he is a doctor, and the doctor whose care Annette went under after she arrived at the hospital was Andrew Bowers. So we've got Dr. Bouwer and Dr. Bowers, which is probably not going to be an issue at all. Can't foresee that being a problem.
Dr. Bouwer and Dr. Bauer. Got it.
Yes. So it's Bouwer, which could just be pronounced Bauer, and then Bowers. So Dr. Bauer and Bowers. Bouwer and... All right. So what Dr. Bowers was able to...
Boyer?
I don't know. I'm just going to call him Colin.
Okay.
Because...
Dr. Colin.
No, just Colin.
Just Colin? Okay.
So what Dr. Bowers was able to determine after Annette's admission was that she was in a hypoglycemic coma, which is pretty common for people who self-administer their insulin as a part of their maintenance of their diabetes. Annette was not diabetic. So
Colin tried to kill her.
Whoa. Dr. Bowers asked Colin to search the home for any drugs
that he brought home. Got it.
That have caused this substantial drop in blood sugar. He also ordered...
Hold on, just 1 second. There's something in my brain, and I can't remember what it was, what I listened to, or what I saw.
Probably this podcast.
About killing people with insulin?
Yeah, you said it on this podcast.
I said it on this podcast?
Yes.
Oh, it's all coming back to me now. Except
okay,
I don't remember why I said it.
So we were having a hypothetical conversation about the best way to kill somebody, and you said shot of insulin, and then you bury them 12 feet down, and then at 6 feet down you put a dog, and then I was like, and then you put an exotic animal over. I think 12 feet is excessive. It was a whole conversation.
Okay. You're
which,
right. Okay.
as I was researching this, I was like, this is going to seem like I was inspired by Hayden saying that, but actually this was on my list of cases to cover before we recorded that episode.
Before.
Well, long is crazy, but before. So Dr. Bowers asked Dr. Bouwer to search the home for any drugs that might have caused this substantial drop in blood sugar, and he also ordered blood tests for the same reason, trying to get to the bottom of this. Nothing was found in either the house or Annette's blood, and her blood sugar stabilized, allowing her to return home. The mystery remained.
I don't think it's that mysterious.
Annette still had something wrong with her, because people don't spontaneously have their sugar dip dangerously low without explanation.
It's called attempted murder. That's what's wrong with her. Attempted murder.
The one time that when you say murderer, it sounds different than murder. When that's not what you mean to say.
Oh, that extra is hard. I remember that time I said detritus, and you were like, detritus?
I don't remember that, but it's absolutely detritus.
Yeah. Yep. And I was like, no, I think it's detritus. Tell me that detritus doesn't sound more pleasing than detritus.
Where are we from? Detritus.
Yeah.
Detritus? No. See, detritus is definitely the southern way of saying it.
Detritus sounds so ugly. It doesn't sound like those sounds belong together.
I said southern.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue.
You're all right. Despite this, 4 days after she left the hospital, Annette slipped back into a coma and returned. Endocrinologists were brought in to consult on the case and hypothesized that she had insulinoma. That's just the first of our new vocabulary words in this episode, which is a pancreatic tumor that dysregulates the amount of insulin being produced and can cause people to experience hypoglycemia. More tests were run, and it came back that no, she did not have any signs of insulinoma. Why did I put that in here twice, as if I know how to say it? Who writes this thing? Although, on that note, I should take a moment to shout out Carl Elliott for writing the article that I did use heavily.
Go, Carl.
To basically retell you this story. Don't get too excited about Carl. He's the guy that I messaged you about yesterday, making unnecessary commentary on people's appearance.
Well, Carl, you still did a great job with your article. I just don't know if you need to make commentary on other people's appearances, evidently.
Yeah, not with that hairline. Not with those teeth. Did you like that? His teeth said, yeah, I studied in the UK. I was like, I obviously can't leave that in. I obviously can't say that. But that's 100% what I thought whenever I looked at his teeth. Like, stereotypical, yes, those are British teeth.
You know, I hate to say it, but there is a very stereotypical image of British teeth.
I know.
And it's like Austin Powers.
Yeah. I mean, the teeth were straight, but the hue was British.
Okay. Yep.
Stereotypical British.
So a soft egg yolk.
More like a Dijon honey mustard.
Not Dijon. No Dijon.
The kind with the like gritty bits that you can see in the bottle. Damn it. Will I leave this in? Stay tuned.
Not all grit teeth. You know, there's something to be said for minding your own appearance before you make commentary on someone else's.
To be fair, I should just say what he said so that, because I usually don't pay any attention and wouldn't typically comment on the way that somebody else looks. And obviously, I have met so many people who are British who have lovely teeth. Like, many? I know that there's a stereotype. Yes, Hayden, many. You're going to be the one getting in trouble here, not me. But it was just so unnecessary because he described Dr. Andrew Bowers as a genial, dark-haired man in his mid-40s with the tired eyes and the slightly doughy skin of someone who has spent too much time indoors.
I don't like when skin is described as doughy.
No, I hated it. And also I looked up a picture of both of them, and Dr. Andrew Bowers, now this is probably because this is from a time ago, but his hair is not dark any longer, at least. And yes, genial. Sure, genial. But he's got a better tan than Dr. Carl Elliott. Yes, he wrote the article, but is also a doctor who worked in the same spaces or town as this all occurred. Which I wasn't even going to get into, but of course he was pretentious though, right? Like a doctor who writes for the New Yorker. Yeah.
Most writing for the New Yorker is a little pretentious, I think.
Well, there you go. And I paid £4 for this article. Shout out.
You're welcome, New Yorker.
To me. Yeah. Okay, so back to Annette. Her condition stabilized again, so once more she was discharged from the hospital.
With her husband?
Yeah. Only to be readmitted 1 week later with the same symptoms.
Okay, Dr. Bauer has to be putting something together.
Excuse me, it's Dr. Bowers.
Dr. Bowers.
Please, you can't actually make that mistake right now.
Dr. Bowers has to be putting 2 and 2 together.
Okay,
My God.
I'm going to get into it. I'm going to get into that. I will get into that. I will address these concerns later. So this time she was released from the hospital on Christmas Eve, 1999, which I think Prince was partying at that point, and was home for the turn of the millennium when Y2K happened and plunged us all into caveman-style darkness.
He wanted that bitch dead before New Year's. That's exactly what he wanted. He wanted to start 2000 off right. New millennia, new wife.
Y2K.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Y2K?
Yeah, he said, I'm going to do the new Stone Age with the new diva. All the fucking window computers weren't going to be able to boot up or load up.
There was a lot of hysteria.
Y2K. Yeah.
Okay.
I will say this. I love the immediate post Y2K fashion and design sensibilities.
Mm-hmm,
and I mean, across the board. Fashion, but also how we made technology look, where everything had that like tinted, clear, you could see the parts of a computer.
Yes. The phones. Can I go as far as to say that you haven't lived unless you were a preteen during the turn of the millennium?
I think that's okay.
You experienced the 90s, and like the 90s were great, and then the early 2000s were also, minus that thing in 2001, but they were also really great.
Honestly, living in a post 9/11 world sucks balls. But I'm sorry, please continue.
Oh, the music was so good. The stuff that was on the radio. Oh my God. 90s, 2000s, that first decade of the 2000s, minus that one thing, really top tier. Mm-hmm. That was before I knew anything about politics or the world at large.
Humanity.
Okay. So this is completely irrelevant, but I wrote it, so I'm going to say it. But I was in 5th grade when 2000 happened. And my dad insisted that my sister and I drink champagne that New Year's because of how momentous it was. And we both found it disgusting and were appalled at the idea of drinking before we were 21, which is a true story. Not comedic at all.
Little goody two-shoes.
Okay, back to Annette. Dr. Bowers received a call from Colin on the 5th of January where he was told that Annette had died, and he wanted Dr. Bowers, as the physician that had treated her throughout this 6-week period, to come to the house and then sign the death certificate.
Okay.
Dr. Bowers, who was only 3 years into practicing medicine, came to the house and suspected that Annette had experienced a seizure leading up to her death, because there was vomit everywhere. The bedroom was a mess, and it was clear that she had not simply slipped into a coma and peacefully passed away. Colin had found her that morning. The couple did not sleep in the same room, and, like I said, called Dr. Bowers. Because they had never gotten to the bottom of what was causing Annette's blood sugar to plummet to such dangerous levels, Dr. Bowers wanted to order a post-mortem to be performed. Colin said that they couldn't because Annette was Jewish, and as part of her faith, she had to be buried within 2 days of her death. Dr. Bowers insisted that the post-mortem could be ordered and completed completed right away. But Colin resisted.
I bet he did.
But then he ultimately conceded to it when Dr. Bowers made it clear that in order to get his signature on the death certificate, a post-mortem was non-negotiable. A week later, Dr. Bowers attended Annette's Anglican funeral.
Oh my God.
Another expatriate from South Africa living in New Zealand, just like Colin and Annette, and who had once been close friends with Annette, Helene Mann, conducted the funeral. Helene
right
spoke...
after she sucked off Colin before the funeral?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. No.
Okay.
Helene spoke about her and Annette's mutual bond over their love of Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Interesting for a Jewess.
And then Annette was cremated.
Okay.
Dr. Bowers was surprised by all of this because very clearly Annette had not been Jewish and did not have a religious belief that required she be buried within 48 hours of her death. At this point, and actually before this point...
Why would you tell such an easily discernible lie? Why would you tell something that was... You can come up with a million lies.
We will also get there.
Okay.
You've been putting puzzle pieces together so far, so I think you're going to piece together this puzzle as well.
Okay.
So again, not just at this point, but at points before this, Dr. Andrew Bowers had become very suspicious. Because he was only 3 years out of training, he was faced with a case that seemed to defy medical knowledge, and he was also overseeing the care of the wife of a doctor who had more experience and was higher up in the hierarchy of academia. He had tried to overlook things, but it had gotten to be too much. So Colin had originally introduced himself as a physician, psychologist, and pharmacologist, but did not seem to understand what Dr. Bowers was saying when Annette originally came to the hospital with regard to the conversation around blood sugar. Mm-hmm. He seemed to assert his dominance with Dr. Bowers 1 minute and then shift his tactic to being overtly friendly with him the next. He kind of vacillated between the two, being intimidating and then being really congenial. Then, when Annette had died, Colin insisted Dr. Bowers come to the house and sign the death certificate, which was odd to begin with, as Dr. Bowers was an internist, and usually the general practitioners were called in to sign death certificates. Paired with the interactions that Dr. Bowers had while at the Bow Wow house.
Bow wow wow.
Noticing that the room was in disarray, while Colin didn't seem to notice anything about the room as being disturbed, refusing the post-mortem, his lie about Annette being Jewish, the insistence that Dr. Bowers signed the death certificate immediately, and Colin's colleague who was present at the house when Dr. Bowers arrived and who quietly told Dr. Bowers that they needed to get this cleared up quickly, especially considering that Annette had accused Colin of trying to kill her.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This doctor, I could have been out of medical school for 3 days and I would have been like, hey, this doesn't seem right.
Yeah, so Dr. Bowers was rather suspicious.
Okay, well, I'm glad he finally got there.
He had been suspicious the whole time, to be fair. But the fact that he was only 3 years out, and obviously, one, in retrospect, it's so much easier to see things, like, right, big picture when you're in it. And we're going to learn a little bit more about Colin in a minute. So, like, some of that will hopefully make more sense. Like, he could be very convincing.
Well, in all fairness, I have the knowledge that this is a true crime podcast and you're going to tell me a crime story. So, of course, it feels really simple and easy.
What if I just changed the game today and told you about this medical mystery that was... We're not doing that. We're not doing that. It's not where this is going. So, around the age of 31, Colin married Annette, and the couple had 2 children. I know that he had been married twice before this, and had an adopted daughter and 1 biological son from his first marriage to Mariette Kruger, which, more on that later. In 1997, when he would have been around 47, because all I got was that he was born in 1950. Colin moved to New Zealand from South Africa, and Annette and the kids followed a time after. He was known to be charismatic and was hired as a senior lecturer in psychiatry, but he rapidly rose through the ranks to the top administrative position at the University of Otago. He was considered to be a really astute psychiatrist. He could really figure people out. keenly understanding their strengths and their vulnerabilities. Here's a direct quote from the article by Carl Elliott. His research was on anxiety disorders, social anxiety, panic disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder. Colin had this fascination with things that terrify people, Romans said. People being suffocated, being exposed to water torture, or drowned. Hayden.
What about people being unknowingly injected with insulin? Where was that fear?
What are you thinking about Colin at this point? Not necessarily his actions, but what do you think about him?
What do I think about him? In what context?
So I guess in light of that quote, right? He had this fascination with things that terrify people, people being suffocated, being exposed to water torture, or drowned.
I don't think it's abnormal for someone who works in medicine or mental health to be intrigued or fascinated by certain manifestations of certain disorders. I think it is kind of odd if it becomes your preoccupation. And I think at some point, especially if there's some kind of malicious intent to understanding these disorders, where we might be curious about something like a personality disorder. If that's kind of what you're asking, that's kind of where my mind is.
A little bit. I mean, you asked earlier, why would somebody tell such an obvious lie?
Ooh.
You asked about that, right?
Yeah, because self-grandiosity. They think they're untouchable. They think they're infallible. An obvious lie doesn't matter because I'm going to be believed no matter what.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
All right. Well,
what do you think?
I know things.
Okay. Good.
I can't tell you what I think because I know the case.
Okay.
I'm not entirely surprised by your answer, but I was hoping for a different answer, but I also know that other answer was unlikely because I know you and how you choose to answer questions like that.
Okay.
You operate with a little bit more caution when you're talking about things like that, right? Like talking about a personality disorder and so on.
Yeah.
So on September 15th, 2000, 9 months and 10 days after Annette died, surprising everyone except Andrew Bowers, Colin Bouwer was arrested for the murder of his wife, Annette.
Shocking.
Dr. Bowers had been working with the police, despite higher-ups at the hospital telling him to drop the subject of his suspicions, which I believe is how the police, with his cooperation, came to bug Colin's phone in June. They also learned that Colin had written prescriptions for medications that would lower glucose levels. He likely ground them up and served them to an unsuspecting Annette in food.
Okay.
She had been tested for them in the hospital, but the tests were sensitive and would only detect them within a brief period of time after they had been consumed, which is why they never showed up on the screenings. And then on January 4th, 2000, Colin picked up a prescription for insulin, 1,000 units. That would be a large enough dose to kill Annette. This part may not surprise you, because I am going to assume that earlier you started talking about psychopathy, which you didn't outright, but I think that you were thinking it.
Yeah. And I think you know why I'm hesitant to use that term. It's often overused. It's used incorrectly. It creates stigma that's unnecessary. But if you are about to tell me that this man suffers from psychopathy, I am not going to be surprised.
Well, he was found to be a liar, which I think is another conversation that we could have about the pathological lying that he did, which turns out he had lied to people when he told them he was a pharmacologist. He had no degree in internal medicine, which could be an explanation for why he wasn't able to talk diabetes with Dr. Bowers.
Was he even a doctor at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Psychology.
Okay.
Which, not surprising for a psychopath. He had lied about his role in the South African resistance during apartheid, which led to him providing counseling for Nelson Mandela after his release from Robben Island. But he didn't know Nelson Mandela.
I was about to say, so is that true? That's crazy.
This is the paragraph where I explain how he's a liar, so no.
Okay.
He'd told people Annette was his first wife, but we know that she was his third. Officially, on official paperwork, he was Methodist, not Jewish. Again, we knew he was some form of Christian. Also, he told Annette's mother of scattering ashes with the children and how their daughter had run her fingers through the ashes before they released them into the wind where they seemed to glow.
Oh my God.
The lie here was that they weren't Annette's ashes. He had taken the ashes from the fireplace.
Okay, honestly, he's kind of camp. Like, he's ginger minging about.
Oh my gosh.
Ran through the ashes with my fingers, and then when they were scattered to the wind, they glowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
it's a beautiful moment.
GM coded. Yeah.
Not only was he good at lying, but he did not back down when challenged.
Well, that's how you tell a good lie.
Yeah, he seemingly just talked his way through it. And the lies were almost always self-serving. He wanted to either generate admiration or sympathy from others, such as the time he told his colleagues that his first wife had killed their 2 children and then committed suicide.
He couldn't stop.
And the time he told people that Annette was being treated for breast cancer and that had metastasized to the point that it was causing psychosis. These 2 fuckers are playing. That's the barking. That's the play bark that you're hearing. He even talked 2 patients in South Africa into having sex with him because he and his wife hadn't been able to have sex in a while since she was dying of cancer.
Okay.
What people don't know is that your jaw dropped when I said that.
He's such a... Okay. You know, killing is one thing. I think you murder somebody, okay, you murder somebody. But then you find out that you did a lot of other terrible, smaller things along the way. And it's just like, you're so corrupt. And not even necessarily intentionally. You're dealing with psychopathy. Like, that's a systemic disorder. So it affects every part of our personhood. But it's just so odd that I expect psychopaths to be often at least somewhat intelligent, and I guess he had to be a psychiatrist, but smart enough to not tell stupid lies.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess maybe part of it is that no lie's all that smart.
Well, another quote from the article. Bouwer.
Oh my God.
They are rats. She is scared of you. She's hiding under the chair I'm sitting in. I didn't realize that. But the other one, she gets into these moods where she wants to play, but it's kind of scary because you never know when she's just going to decide that she's going to attack.
Is Ginny being the aggressor?
Of course she is. Molly's only the aggressor after Ginny starts it. And when Molly's the aggressor, she's aggressive. Okay, Bouwer had an aura that many women found attractive. He also had a knack for spotting women with psychological vulnerabilities that he could exploit.
Okay, so just the typical straight male.
Okay. As I mentioned, when he moved from South Africa to New Zealand, Annette and the children did not come straight away. That didn't prevent Colin from coming straight away.
I have a feeling it was always about him coming straight away.
Whispers around the hospital about the number of female callers and visitors to his apartment, which was provided by the hospital, and which meant that any calls that he received were dispatched via the hospital, began. He had been sexually involved with at least 4 members of the hospital staff, with the most notable being Anne Walsh, the colleague who was at the house the morning of Annette's death. In the time leading up to Annette's death, as early as 2 months before the first hypoglycemic coma, Colin told a colleague that his wife was in a coma. He told another colleague that she was terminally ill, as an excuse for missing a deadline. And then he delivered a lecture on how to commit the perfect murder, which, as you've already mentioned, is to shoot insulin between the toes. It was in the weeks after Annette's death that Colin began to exhibit concerns that he might be found out. He asked specialists all over the world about glucose-lowering medications being found in a post-mortem. He attempted to retroactively develop a story that might explain the prescriptions that he wrote and filled himself. He gave himself prostate cancer in order to settle all of that because it made him so depressed. And actually, when Annette first went into a coma, he was like, hey, wait, low blood sugar would be an easy way to die. I could just start stockpiling the glucose-lowering drugs and then take my myself out. But damn, Annette must have found his stash and taken them herself.
Okay.
Because people are often in the habit of just finding random medications and being like, yes, I'll take all of these at once. Thank you.
Just men will do anything to avoid doing the hard part. The truth. Getting a divorce, saying, I don't want to be with you. They'll do anything. They'll do anything.
I don't think that was the hard part. I don't think that the divorce, it would have been his third divorce.
Do you think it would be like the shot to his image? Is it?
I think that he wanted to see if he could get away with the perfect murder.
Well, if only we had a time machine so we could go back and let him know.
Yeah, we'd have to revive him. Spoilers, he dies. He also took a trip late in January 2000 to South Africa to set their affairs in order. He was very grief-stricken. And when he returned, he had shaved his head, beard, and eyebrows, and had forged and falsified 3 letters. One about him receiving treatment for depression. It was electric shock treatment. One about him receiving treatment for prostate cancer, which is probably why everything was shaved. And the last was a suicide letter that he was attempting to claim he had penned the day before Annette's body was found. I think the story was that she found the suicide letter and decided that she was going to kill herself instead of...
Sure.
Yeah, right. So prosecutors argued that Colin wanted the $260,000 life insurance policy and to marry Anne as his motives to kill Annette. But he made over $100,000 a year and had divorced twice already, so there was not actually great explanations there for his motive for killing, and there was no proof that he had any desire to marry Anne, who had been investigated and cleared of any involvement or knowledge of Annette's murder. Actually, it was found that she was doing a lot of mental gymnastics to convince herself that he was not guilty of this. So yeah, I think it was really just a killing for the sake of seeing if he could get away with it. Maybe unburdening himself in a way of having a spouse. I don't know. This is about the time where I was like, I'm kind of sick of all this and ready to be done with it. So the trial ran from October 8th to November 19th of 2001. The jury took 3 hours and 25 minutes to return a guilty verdict, and Colin was sentenced to a mandatory 13 years to life. So a life sentence, but he would have to serve 13 years minimum before he could get out. Colin's team appealed, which was denied, but the Solicitor General also appealed, and that was granted, which increased the number of years he would be required to serve from 13 to 15.
Ooh.
Also, upon
these
his
other
release...
countries never give them enough time. Never give them enough time. Never. There's no reason for these people not to commit crimes again.
I wonder which country statistically has a higher rate of recidivism.
Okay, well, don't get me started on that.
The propaganda runs deep within you. Upon his release, he would be deported back to South Africa. In September 2015, his parole request was refused, and in 2016, he filed paperwork to appeal the deportation order. This was also denied. In 2017, he was released and deported, and in 2021, it was reported that he had died of natural causes in 2018, 3 years prior, the year after he was released.
Okay.
But we're not done. Remember I said more on that later?
Uh-huh.
Do you remember what I was going to tell you more about?
I don't know, but he probably faked his own death. Go ahead.
You know what? When I was writing that, I was like, he actually probably did fake his own death, because the fact that it wasn't reported until 3 years after the fact, he's probably still alive, but like...
Gets to start new. Someone else.
Okay, so I was talking about his first marriage when I said more on that later.
Okay.
So his firstborn son, Colin Jr., though, was not only similar in name, but also in...
Similar in psychopathy?
Uxoricide. Uxoricide, which is our second vocabulary word of the day.
And I'm waiting for you to define it.
I'll get there. 4 months after Annette died, in May 2000, 25-year-old Colin Jr. was arrested in South Africa and charged with murdering his wife, Rhea. His estranged son, by the way, who was... They shared a name and they shared murdering their wives, but he was an AC repairman. He was not a doctor. I mean, he was an AC doctor, which, honestly...
Mad respect.
Yeah. I've seen more of them than I have actual doctors, to be fair. But anyway, she had been found strangled in the guest bathroom of their home. Toiletries were strewn everywhere. Her underwear had been slashed. And Colin Jr. told police he had been out for several hours with their daughter, 7-month-old Melissa, when they had arrived home to this distressing scene.
Some genetics are just undeniable. Some genetics refuse to be latent. They refuse to be recessive.
Mm-hmm. So Rhea's mother hired a private investigator to look into Colin Jr., who eventually attempted to terminate this investigation into him by seeking out a hitman to take out the private investigator. Colin Jr. did not inherit the charismatic, charming personality of his father. He was volatile and intimidating. And he and Rhea had fought the day of her death. He'd left the house, returned to find her in the bedroom, where he proceeded to strangle her to death. And then he called his mommy, and she came over to help move the body to the bathroom and stage the scene.
I wish that surprised me.
I can't believe they got divorced. Seemed like a match made in hell. So Mariette tried to deter the investigation into Colin Jr. by working with him to stage a kidnapping of the baby, Melissa. They claimed that 2 men had hijacked her car when she was taking Melissa to daycare, and the car was located abandoned with the unharmed baby inside. Rhea's mother, the driving force behind the investigation into Colin Jr., began receiving strange items in the mail. A voodoo doll with a condom on the head, a Christmas ornament she'd left at her daughter's grave wrapped around the neck of the doll, and of course the doll obviously had needles stuck in it as well. And then
psychic damage.
Yeah. She received 4 more voodoo dolls, which had molded vaginas with a, quote, pliable material.
Oh my God.
And then she was attacked while leaving her house and was left beaten and with a broken leg, which was believed to have been orchestrated by Colin Jr., but there was never any definitive proof or link to him. So eventually, Colin Jr. confessed to the murder and was convicted of culpable homicide. His mother was also charged with her role in trying to cover up that crime. And Colin Bouwer was used as an example of a psychopath, which made for clever, alliterative headlines considering his profession of being a psychologist. And his son, well, it was just mentioned that there is about a 70% genetic likelihood that he would also exhibit psychopathic behaviors.
Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. It's so interesting what role genetics can play in development, and not just our physical development, but our mental development. Mm-hmm. And to know that Colin Jr. Got those murderous genetics just right down the pipe. I don't know. I think it reveals a lot. I think it contextualizes a lot of behavior that is the result not just of nurture, but nature. And I think it's fascinating that Colin Sr. was so measured and duplicitous in his actions, but still failed to pull off the murder. And we have someone like Colin Jr. who's was a little less planned, a little messier. But I don't know, I think there are still visible parallels and that go beyond just murdering wives. So I think that part's fascinating.
So that was my initial reaction, right? Like, oh, I mean, he was born with this. And then my immediate, secondary thought is, but he was also raised by a psychopath. So what level does the nurture part of being raised by somebody who is incapable of forming emotional connections, or kids in particular are very perceptive, and they can catch things that as adults with lived experience can't necessarily catch. But also I just can't imagine what that experience would be like being raised by somebody I could imagine, but
I was about to say, you've got some experience.
Whoa.
Hell, I know what mental instability looks like.
This is not anywhere near empty. I had to lift the straw to do that. Yeah, so there's I think the biggest thing to me is the fact that he did not have that same level of charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent that his father did. That's a very, like, that charisma, that being able to get along and have people, like, buy your shit is very much psychopathic behavior, that masking.
He just had the unt.
Yeah, I think that he probably wasn't a psychopath. He probably was a product of that father who I'm going to assume abandoned. Like, he was estranged from by the time he was 25. And then also a mother who was an enabler, clearly. Like, let me help you stage the murder of your wife as if somebody else did it so you don't have to be in trouble for it. I think that probably nurture was more heavy-handed here than nature. Because, although I could not find when Rhea died, it had to have been around the same time, if not before, Annette died, because her mother, after they closed the case, was the one who hired the private investigator, who was investigating long enough that he was feeling the heat of it, was trying to hire a hitman to get rid of the private eye, was willing to go along with the staging of the kidnapping of his infant daughter with his mother. Like, the amount of time that all of that took had to have been equal to, if not greater than, the 4 months since from the time that Annette died to when Colin Jr. was arrested for a separate murder. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it had to have happened around the same time. But this case was labeled as a case where somebody stalked themselves, which I didn't actually get information about, but because I've been doing stalking cases. I was going to do 4 stalking cases, but one of them, the victim has her own podcast. So, like, what the fuck am I going to say that's going to be better than hearing it from the horse's mouth?
Right.
Dr. Kathleen Beatty, I'm almost positive is her name. If you want to go check out her podcast. I don't know the name of it, but, like, that's her name. So if you're interested, do some research. But yeah, there wasn't any of that, but I was like, but it's also very interesting from, like, a psychological perspective, this case. And I don't think it really helps in the debate of nature versus nurture, because I think you can make a solid case for either one.
I think that's a fair assessment. The truth is that it probably is a combination of both. Very rarely is it going to just be one or the other.
Right.
But I don't know. I still feel it's central that there are just some things you can't run from. There are just some genetic predispositions that demand to be felt and seen and heard and lived out. And I fully appreciate the perspective on how nurturing could have even fostered that nature to worsen or accelerate. So it's certainly an interesting case.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad.
I knew there was murder from the start. I knew the husband did it. Those are 2 of my favorite things.
You do appreciate that. Yeah. You do appreciate murder.
Captures my attention and I'm there.
Yeah. I think some of the cases that I tell, though, they're more compelling if you don't know, if you're trying to figure things out as you go.
Yeah, sure.
You just become a victim of it because it's probably more entertaining for people to listen to rather than to, like, try to navigate as it's happening.
Yeah.
There was a resolution this time, though. Last episode, I didn't give you a resolution.
That's true. And when I tell you my case, there will also be no resolution, so...
You're never gonna learn. You didn't even like it. You didn't like when there was no resolution. I thought you would have taken that. No. Is there going to be a crime, or is it just going to be somebody disappeared and maybe they did it on their own and there's no crime?
It's lots of crimes.
Okay.
It's very many crimes.
Party.
Criminal. Also, I did an old-timey case, 1946.
That is not usual for you.
No, it's not. It is not.
I believe whenever I've done that, you're like, oh, old-timey crimey, old-timey wimey. All right. Well, we all have that to look forward to then.
We do. That's all we've got for today. Thanks for listening.
Until the next crime.
If you enjoyed listening and want to hear more, please subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, and leave a review.
The link to join our supportive bestie tier on Patreon for only $2 a month is listed in the show notes.
Also, make sure you're following us at End of Crime Pod on Instagram.
Our email address is endofcrimepod@gmail.com, so feel free to reach out with questions or episode suggestions.